Hi, I have something to read that's very pertinent in my life right now. Chapter 11, The Call of Abraham in Patriarchs and Prophets. Again, I'm reading. Okay. So it's talking about how Abraham was born and the promise of Abraham and his offspring. Okay. So he went down to escape the famine the first time into Egypt. Okay. The Lord, in his providence, had brought this trial upon Abraham to teach him lessons of submission, patience, and faith. So, if you want to be a Christian, it's not easy, okay? Okay, and this is going to explain exactly what happens because it's going on right now. Lessons that were to be placed on record for the benefit of all who should afterward be called to endure affliction. Sound fun being a Christian? You want to endure affliction. Okay. God leads his children by a way that they know not, but he does not forget or cast off those who put their trust in him. He permitted affliction to come upon Job, but he did not forsake him. It does feel like he's forsaking you when you are going through his tests and trials. So, right now, if you think that God's not fair because he's testing you, you test people. Do you not? You want to see their character, see their mettle. You want to see how they'll behave or how they'll react. Okay? Modern day times we use cameras and social media and investigations and credit checks and stuff like that. But it's a form of testing someone's character. Anyway, I digress, kind of. Okay. Okay. He permitted affliction to come upon Job, but he did not forsake him. He allowed the beloved John to be exiled to lonely Patmos. But the Son of God met him there, and his vision was filled with scenes of immortal glory. So imagine being in exile in a prison, and then you get to see where you're going to end up once you leave this place. God permits trials to assail his people, that by their constancy and obedience, they themselves may be spiritually enriched, and that their example may be a source of strength to others. I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil. Jeremiah 29:11. One of my favorites. The very trials that task our faith must severely oh, the very trials that task our faith most severely and make it seem that God has forsaken us are to lead us closer to Christ, that we may lay all our burdens at his feet and experience the peace which he will give us in exchange. I can attest to that. But you have to ask for it. You say, Lord, you said your yoke was easy and your burden was light. Please help me. And just like that, it'll bring you peace or calmness or joy or love, strength, or all of that at the same time. It's awesome. But you seem to have to call on him. He says, come to me, right? God has always tried his people in the furnace of affliction. Sounds fun, right? It is in the heat of the furnace that the dross is separated from the true gold of Christian character. Jesus watches the test. Was he not tested? Jesus watches the test. He knows what is needed to purify the precious metal, that it may reflect the radiance of his love. It just happened to me today. Like, man, I was so mad at being persecuted. And then once I forgave and admitted that I was murmuring, complaining, griping, and I was focused on the wrong things of this world, the turmoil and the test became, it wasn't a test anymore. It was like a lesson, okay? And it's still not over. But I see that it's just a lesson, not a failure, okay? It's a test of my character. And boy, I was failing miserably. That's when I called on him. I said, hey, you said your burden was easy, your yoke was easy and your burden was light, right? And I said, well, it doesn't feel that way. And then my king. It is by close testing trials that God disciplines his servants. He sees that some have powers which may be used in the advancement of his work, and he puts these persons upon trial. In his providence, he brings them into positions that test their character and reveal defects and weaknesses that have been hidden from their own knowledge. Do you ever think you were better than you really are? Well, the furnace of affliction will prove it not so. Whew. Okay. He gives them opportunity to correct those defects and to fit themselves for his service. It's an opportunity. Right, Eric? Yep. Okay. Just thank you, Lord, because I was not laughing about it earlier. And I didn't read this until hours later after the test. So this is divine inspired reading, okay? After I said, Lord, I don't know what to do with myself. What do I do? Well, why don't you read that book there that I gave to you on Saturday? Okay. Okay, he gives them opportunity to correct those defects and to fit themselves for his service. He shows them their own weakness and teaches them to lean upon him, for he is their only help and safeguard. Exactly what I said. I said, you're my only help. You're the only one that knows. You're the only one I'm going to talk to about it. You're the only one I know that cares. Everyone else will, if I ever bring this up to them, they will talk in a way that I will relive the fiery aspect of it and suffer greatly more. And I'm not telling you about it. I'm just telling you that it happened, okay? Okay. For he is their only help and safeguard. Thus his object is attained. They are educated, trained, and disciplined, prepared to fulfill the grand purpose for which their powers were given them. When God calls them to action, they are ready, and heavenly angels can unite with them in the work to be accomplished on the earth. Go through the fire, go through the test, go through the lessons, see your weaknesses, see your failures. Know that you are not what you think you are yet. I do believe that when we think that we're more advanced than we are. That's the very definition of haughtiness. Become, pride goeth before destruction, haughtiness before fall, right? So know that after the fire, you will be purified and you will be fit for the service that he has called you to. And the thing is, you might not even know what that service is. I kind of have an inkling, but I'm not, you know, I'm not latching on to anything until he's got to tell me, man, because at this point, I'm like weary about my own desires, masking my own desires as his will. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. That's not his will at all. That'd be deception, right? And we all know who does that. So, and I'm not saying be strong in doubting that he has a plan for you, because if you if you've been isolated and called and you're definitely in the line of the refiner's fire. So Matthew 7:21, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. So going through these tests and trials and afflictions are going to prove your mettle and will train you and discipline you so that way you can do our Father's will. So that way, when you say, Lord, Lord, he says, come on in. There are many mansions and there's room for you. My good and faithful servant. Godly boot camp. Count it a joy. Oh, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. But I'll read that last sentence. Heavenly angels can unite with them in the work to be accomplished on the earth. So you might go through the test alone. But when you are trained sufficiently, heavenly angels will be with you to help you accomplish his will on earth. Awesome, right? And to think some people choose the world. I'm glad that's done. I guess I passed that test. Shalom.